I have two sections. One, the first section is about Jessica Hutchinson's I can't even say that, exhibit, Wrecked and Righteous, and the other one is about this exhibit, Subterranean Ceremonies. All right. Resist the human urge to make meaning out of all things. I eat dried flowers and old couches, altering minimally wounds of compassion. Non-chronological time as intimacy, hard, brittle, heat-resistant. Sculptural time, visual and non-chronological, intimate and immediate. Titles and articles, the marriage of papier-mâché and ceramic heartbeats, urgent and hard-lived, pinkish and foldable. The human urge to make a tongue, needlepoint is soft and private, sweetly nostalgic, and against the raw, prissy little stitches. Parts of bodies as unstretched canvases, and dried flowers, ink stains exposed as sea. I'm at the beginning. And this is in relation in some way to this exhibit, Subterranean Ceremonies. Abstraction of sun and moon and tree and sea, obscuring histories and earthen etymologies. Feelings as frequencies, bandwidth of colors, a spectrum glistening and glimpsing. Morning waters, sky and shade. Wisdom was relevant to me, swallowed. Black lining of clouds, inverted sky, and the mnemonic shrugging of trees. Stuck in the angry mode, where skyline meets the sea, clouds as recollections and seismic memories, seizing the day. Emergence of unmapped senses, overburdening, over-emptying, over-hypothesizing, and fleeting. Unforgivable and unforgiven, exploded 1,000 years ago as birds and stars and brush-lined banks of rivers. Pockmarked rocks, the earth came at last, peeling oranges and foaming waves. From Temecula to Ferndale, from Washington to Wisconsin, from Looney Land, we ask of the rocks to be kind and to be gentle with our hardnesses. We can't see when the night will end. Such are the things in dreams, once prophetic places. Now, saith the ghost, aligning senses of cityscapes, pine trees, Doug fir, western hemlock, and cedar, powwowing the Seattle skyline. Fractal ridge of storm clouds, oranged hues of evening. Horizons spell out liminal zones and abstract spaces, flinching and splashing in clear blue sea puddles, darkened by earthened etymologies. Unmapped senses mimic the abstraction of cities and us on wet evenings that spell out why things were the way they were. The vertical versus the horizontal. We're the children of great love and great violence. We're the runaway horses, wild like ghosts on the plains. Daryl Strawberry in a field of butterflies, wrecked and righteous, evoking magical thinking, resisting conventional likability, from the garbled utterances of his life. He needed to be rescued from the collage of time, newspapers. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Hannah. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you Eric for organizing this. Thank you Anna for collaborating. After walking through this exhibit, I spent an afternoon just engaging with some of the works here and really trying to see what subterranean ceremonies was all about. And really it's about transience and it's about home, making a home nonetheless, as Guy Hopinka puts it. And so I'll be sharing 4 poems today that are just based off of that and giving to mind what it means to have belonging and really feeling a sense of permanency when there is a lot of space for liminality. This first poem is titled In Solitude. In solitude, a land's grief make themselves known, emptying the individual of any self-importance. Take care not to dissolve the memories embedded here. The softness will take time to understand. The meadow, the forest underbrush, the bending creek, wisdom bestowed for the one who dreams in mid-air of an island's spirit protecting the forest, calls with a language for the ones who are keepers and hold this land with living story and protected love. This next poem is inspired by Hopinka's upbringing. He traveled with his parents in the powwow circuit, and to this day that has influenced his art making. This is titled For Those in Transience. Here, this is not any ordinary machine, any ordinary road. Yes, we are in a machine, and yes, this machine is the thing we're lurching forward, and yes, we are moving from one point to the next, onto the next, until the gas tank is linked, or the rain is flooding the highway, or, look at that, the branches are smacking our car windows, demanding to let themselves in. It will be daylight soon. Already the clouds are bowing and gifting us no sense of urgency. Something almost better than that long-awaited glimmering sun. Even though we didn't have a lot of time to really engage with every film in the exhibit, something I would encourage you to do after. There were a lot of questions that came up for me as I watched these films. So this poem is titled, Questions for All Who Inhabit. Below the surface of the earth, what seeming things are held? Has a place ever spoken to you? What did it say about your taking or giving? What kind of story was here in the time of your grandmother? Her grandmother? If you could, would you return to this place in that time? Would you be welcomed and warmly received? How does it feel to sit in silence, alone in a forest? Have you ever thanked a tree? Did a map you were carrying ever become insignificant? What would you do if your home was stolen from you? Do you have somewhere to lie down and dream? Do you have a pen to write with? If you never are able to settle down, what kind of bird would you like to be? This last poem is after one of the films, which is Picking the Clouds. And it is a recording of one of his family members learning the Pachanga language. And Pachanga, I learned, means at the place where water drips. Pachanga. There is a guttural awareness released, like a frozen winter's creek dissolve, when a mouth salivates for thirst, or when the corner of an eye is drained. Puffy and tired from giving water for the ones who have gone on into the next world. one very far from here in human time, but closer than a birth and lifespan of a redwood? What makes a home? Is it the faucet that leaks one drop at a time, giving a constant rhythm, an unexpected comfort, and drifting toward a heavenly sleep, the company it carries? Or is it the mother's jewelry and beads, clustered together in reds, yellow, and greens? Maybe it is the hope that all who try to learn and return to their ancestral home can still do so with the matter, the hands, a healer, the tongue, a language learner, an ear, the story keeper. Enormity finds itself in small spaces. Thank you so much.
I'm very nervous, so I'm moving slowly and reading through it all. This is a big, beautiful group, and what an honor and privilege to be here. My name is Clara, my pronoun is aleyda. I'm an Afro-Salvadorian poet, and I had such an amazing time on this project. It's probably one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of or asked to do. So big thank you to Eric and to the folks at the FRYE Museum for this incredible opportunity. And yes, just like many of the other artists have shared, there's a lot of intention that went into creating these pieces of work. Coming to the museum and walking through the art and really trying to sit and ground myself in not just what I was looking at and what I was reading, but what I was receiving from all of that. And my brain, for some reason, had a fun time getting to know Jessica through her own words, and I was able to do that by picking up one of the little brochures that are available right behind me at the main entrance. And the piece I'm going to share with y'all is actually taken from that poster, and I'm going to show you guys so you can get an idea of the method behind my madness. And so this is a Bessedarian erasure poem based on Jessica's own words and her own ABCs. Wow. Thank you. And I did this with a few other pieces too, as well as just the descriptions that are from her paintings as well. But the one I'm going to share with you all today is titled Abecedario Oscura, an amplification of the ABCs of JJH. Aboutness, the tidy packaging of an artist's work as being about this or that, make it mean or do something, prop it up with quantifiable references. Aren't objects, aren't things, they're the original. Speak about the desires and compulsions, its expressive sensibilities and maternal quality, snatches of thought resisting linearity, textual fragments exerted from the artist. Banality, a banal object, the creation of meaning since the very beginning, the potential process in us humans to make meaning out of all things, to indicate a way of reading them, made up of incredible, desperate longing. Ceramics, the evocative quality of ceramics have this total practical and prehistoric alwaysness about them. To eat and drink, connecting my hands to all practicality and constancy, a different set of associations, more ephemeral, more present, a resistance to perfection and polish. Draw, criminal, junkie, charismatic, player, run, moved by empathy in contrast to the self-righteous condemnation. Butterflies became an aberration, symbolic transformation to create compassion. Extravagant, I want a leap of faith, everything is paradoxical, an extravagant gesture, some self-awareness and hope. Flesh, language, the never-ending possibility of it, the extravagant ambitiousness of something difficult, of making visual languages, gaining meaning through repeated use and context. I want to feel the weight of time and life and dimensions on what could be a body giving time, a kind of life, the deepening limits of my language, limits of my world. My job is to expand and transgress both those limits, say the things, maybe not in words or equations, but to invent and refine language so we say something that matters. Guttural. Appreciate the mystery of the unconscious, guttural and raw. Leave the work, encounter it at different times, surprised by how undone, barely made, and rather powerful the presence of this kind of discovery always works. Humorous. Eccentric forms declare a certain utility. Your body is the life source. My mind can't argue with practicality, but also the humor. You can serve curiosity and weirder and more extreme, a heaviness, burdensomeness. They are convivial too. Intuition. Summoning intuition and mystery is more profound than dogma. Restricted, we work so we can slip in and around language and do more than can be said, something more. Jackson, as in Tina Jackson Hutchins. It was all in my blood. It terrified me, making rituals with sculpture. Knowing, to get to transformation, evidence of time contained in the humanity of objects connecting to the world, knowing ourselves through the things we encounter. Lonely, ritual, transformative ritual, simultaneously carrying abject times in my life for the spontaneously shared dark stories and shameful experiences. It was redemptive. Monosyllabic, the body has a chance, the possibility of impact. Familiarity connects you right away. They're explicating their language on the wall. Need, the main thing is beautiful. Love working against the contrast of raw and discursive, discrete colors, soft and sweetly nostalgic. Objects, a silent contemplation, a demand to be considered, a hell of a challenge. A certain sovereignty and autonomy demands understanding, consideration of and how. A difficult thinking made me do anything excruciating, but ultimately beautiful. Prose. In the late 90s, people were suffering. I knew the negative was important. Music to be rescued from the garbled utterance of life. A heart for hands for milagros, a plea for healing, a certain desperation, the most transformation coming from empathy for the unsympathetic. Quiet. Respect. I'm interested in a way of being, making meaning together. I want to activate intention in the forthright way, giving pleasure, surprise, effort, humor, beauty to the best of my ability and my own truth. Skill. Obscure my skill, not the subject. The look of respect that some effort was offered up. Truth. It is more beautiful and challenging trying to make something right in one way. You miss the real. The truth is that imperfections are more beautiful, that brokenness is the real opportunity. Unknowability. Offer me the unknowability that makes it impossible to handle or grasp its totality. Exile the infinitives, there is unknowability. There is always something more to live for. Victory. People talk about failure. I feel victory. Wrecked and righteous. Sometimes the hard-lived, urgent and profound echoes, enchanted sound and meaning in the work. Some people should be seen and heard. You, the whole point is communion. Sky, fragmented, overwhelmed by abundance, both obscure and mundane. The eccentricity seems to contain voices all coming in an epic, endless song of honor. Thank you.
Aleyda Cervantes.
Hi everyone, it's so nice to be here, and I'm very thankful for this experience, and thank you Eric for bringing together and all the other poets, I hate going last because the expectations are so high, you know. And then I didn't print this because my printer can smell my fear, so you know, I was not gonna risk it, so I haven't printed so. But yeah, so this first piece is based on Jessica's exhibit, and actually I was gonna write my entire thing on Jessica's. Well, that's what I thought I was going to do. But then I didn't, and I'm going to say why after I'm done with this piece. So this is titled Extravaganza. Here is the process for making art. You begin with a ritual. Sit on the toilet, or your favorite spot on the floor. Lay down and hum at least 5 times. Ask yourself the important questions. Who would read this? Who would touch it? Who needs it? Google 7 times again the spelling of the same word. Scratch the sentence, mark the paragraph, and doubt. Always doubt. This is never the right path. Wait until the last minute to start. Look out the window until you go on a walk. Have a lonely dinner. Wash the dishes. Reorganize your bookshelf. Finish crocheting this card laying in your closet. Grab both needles and realize you hate this. Read a book. Start a pile of donating clothes. Clean your bathroom. Make a tea. Look at the window again. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Move your toes. This is your body, a body meant for creating. Take a leap of faith. Open a blank piece of paper and write. And then I was going to do everything on Jessica, but then I got really obsessed with Sky. Like I came and I watched all his videos and then I went online and I hyper-fixated on his work. And then, you know, after going on that YouTube rabbit hole, there's no coming back. So I was like, okay, I have to, you know, write something about him. And the reason why I feel so connected is because for the past few years, I've been recording my grandparents' conversations and just the stories that they tell me. And I watch a lot of my elders pass away, and I'm like, who's collecting this, you know? And I think we are really big on oral stories, but I feel like a lot of the times right now oral stories are kind of fading away. So this was an inspiration in all of this work. Generational lore. Each season begins with metamorphosis of clouds. What is the name for between ocean and sky? I was once walking along the water next to lamination, and the body became a river. The river met the sea, touching all lands, arriving to the place where the water drips. Here, the rain smells like sugarcane. Perhaps those are 2 different places telling the same story. Here's a history lesson. Memory and remembering are not in the same genre. You and I are standing exactly 10 years apart, 1984 and 1994. This moment of time fragmented by nostalgic senses of past selves. My grandfather speaks with form. I daydream alongside his voice. Half asleep, I see you, learning from those teachings too. You better know this is not an ethnographic piece. It is a collage, a pastiche of the sounds of all your videos and the lack of language in this poem, of this body. I want to name all the trees, to know the way my hands feed their branches, feel my feet fighting their way to exist, many years from now, many legends later. A nation without language is a stranded island. What tools do you use to write your own creation story? I am also chasing self-sounds, creating oral stories. My culture is estranged to silent. There is an extension from the roots connecting to the bones of my hips, all the way to the green of the milpas in my hometown, following the voice of your mother in Wacom County, where I was once living for rainy Septembers. A home is a home is a home. The land will recognize us even when we're lost. Language comes from the womb. In Spanish, water is agua, but this is not indigenous. I hear your grandmother speak Pachanga. Is there a space in history where our stories meet? Because you see, the veins of this continent are bleeding, a wound between us, echoing the loudness of children's and grandparents, and new mythologies existing, and resignation transforms into hope. My family sits around me. We are what we speak. Lore is embedded in the genetics of our hair. What is ceremony if not the stories I carry with me? Regret, give us grace. Let up by a voice, excavate a hole into the mountains, traveling past landscapes of my people, where space and time hold our bodies. as sounds extend across, let sky open for us, cracking every cliff, welcoming drifting birds, float across generations in this movement of breath. Thank you.